The U.S. beer industry has been facing rapid change and disruption in recent years due to new innovations from the spirits industry and small independent craft brewers. We sat down recently with Peter Swinburne, Chief Executive of Molson Coors, who talked about the need for international expansion and new innovation. Since the interview, Molson Coors acquired Starbev, a European brewer, for about $3.5 billion, and a move that will expand its presence in Eastern and Central Europe.
What we realized is that consumers do like different flavors, different experiences, and in some instances we're not satisfying that within the beer category, albeit still most alcoholic occasions are satisfied by beer. And really we're trying to make sure that we satisfy consumer occasions that at the moment beer is not addressing. So that's really at the core of it, but really it's all about making sure that we grow the business and try and get top line growth.
You've talked about the need to romanticize beer, like the wine industry has been able to do, and like some spirits have been able to do. How are you going to do that in terms of Molson Coors with your marketing strategy or other ways to get people more excited?
I mean, we do have a great portfolio of brands that allow us to do that. So, you know, brands like Blue Moon, which is the fastest growing craft beer in the country, Lionel Coors, and we've just bought a new company called Crispin Cider. When you sit down with consumers and you explain to them, you know, how beer is made, how you compare beer with food, and specifically in Canada we have a brand called Rickards, which we very much focus on pairing with food. And consumers become engaged very, very quickly. They're very interested. And so there is a latent need there. I just don't think we've done that very well.
In terms of U.S. consumers, are you seeing the same kinds of premiumization trends that we're seeing in terms of other consumer packaged goods, or especially spirits, where people are spending more on higher?
There's no doubt there's a trend within consumers for comfort and gratification, and so people are, you know, treating themselves. And so similar to all other packaged goods, we're seeing that in the US, and that's being reflected back in the sale of craft beers, such as Blue Moon and Lionel Coors, so absolutely yes.
Now obviously the US consumer remains under a lot of pressure with unemployment and whatnot. It seems a little bit contradictory that they're spending more on beer and more on higher end beer. Why is that?
It seems to be a trend that's constant across all consumer goods and also retailers. You know, consumers are going into high-end shops and low-end shops, and it's the bit in the middle that's being squeezed. It's not too surprising though, because the people who have got money have still got money. Where you look at unemployment, the real pressure point for our industry comes with our target consumer. So our target consumer, if we took the US market, is a male, a legal drinking age, so 21 up to the age of 29, 30. The unemployment rate for those individuals is virtually twice the level of unemployment generally. So it is a trend, but mainly it's because at the top end, people who are still working have still got money.
And some of the innovations you mentioned, how are you going to be able to use those to, you know, expand the market of people that are interested in beer from, you know, from men in that core demographic?
By bringing new people into the franchise, bringing new people in to consume beer that currently don't consume beer. Obviously females are part of that, and so we have a brand in Canada that we launched a couple of years ago, Molson Canadian 67, a low-calorie beer. 40% of the people that drink that didn't drink beer before. So you've got to bring people into the franchise, but you've got to give them a rationale and a reason to do that. And again, I think that's where we have not, you know, beer's not been that exciting in the past, and we've got to actually address that. I think we're doing that very well at the moment.
Want to move over to Europe. Obviously the Eurozone's been under a lot of pressure. You have business there as well as in the UK. How have you been managing things with all that's going on?
Well, we're very lucky. The majority of our business in the UK, in Europe, I'm sorry, is based in the UK. And whilst that gets impacted in terms of the effect on its economy, it's not in the Eurozone per se. And so we really don't have any specific issues as far as the financial problems in the Eurozone are concerned.
And are you looking to gain exposure to emerging markets?
Absolutely, it's part of our, as I outlined, it's part of our strategy. It's a longer-term build, but we went into India this year, which is the fastest-growing market in the world. Concentrated on China, which is the biggest market in the world. Done very well in the Ukraine, which is the fastest-growing market in Eastern Europe, and Russia would be the other one that we'd look at. So again, very concentrated in terms of what we're trying to achieve, but in markets actually that can deliver the goods if we get it right.
How do you persuade Chinese consumers to try American beer brands instead of drinking their own?
In exactly the same way as we do anywhere in the world. We just give them a great product, we tell them it's Rocky Mountain Cold Refreshment, and they love it.
Now, you said you have a somewhat unique strategy in terms of how you do joint ventures overseas.
That's correct. We don't go into markets and sink a lot of capital in. So we don't build breweries and then try and create demand. We go in with a brand and let the brand build itself. We go in with partners, get distribution, get consumer acceptance of the brand. First of all, it's a lower cost entry level, but also we're concentrating on our brand building. And once we've done that and we've got a certain scale, then we'll go and look to get local production. It's a model that works well for us, and it's a model, more importantly, that works well for our shareholders, because we're not betting a lot of money on just on bricks and mortar.
Now, last year was an extraordinary year in terms of input costs for commodities.
Sure.
You obviously have to worry about wheat, barley, energy. What are you thinking about this year? Is it going to be any better than it was, and how are you managing pricing?
No, we don't see it improving, and obviously fuel is the wild card. But we tend to look at this over the medium term, and so really, like any other packaged goods company, we would look for our pricing to at least equalize cost of goods over the medium term. We'd look to premiumize our portfolio by new brand introductions, and so we look for an improvement in margins through mix, and that really is at the minimum what we would try to achieve.
And finally, on the U.S. consumer, are you seeing any signs of improvement?
I'd love to say that I am, but really it's very patchy, and with gas prices doing what they are at the moment, that makes it tough as well.
Thank you very much. Are you ready to play long short?
Absolutely.
Gas prices.
Oh, long.
Carbonated soft drinks.
Short.
Four Loko.
Short.
The Affordable Care Act.
Long.
The Euro.
Short.
Mitt Romney.
Long.
Emerging markets.
Long.
Thanks very much for playing.
Thank you.